Well, the last time I seen darling Corey, she's on the banks of the deep blue sea. She had a 44 wrapped around her and a banjo on her knee. Dig a hole in the meadow, dig a hole in the cold, cold grass. Dig a hole in the meadow, they're gonna lay darling Corey down. Wake up, darling Corey, why do you sleep so sound? Highway robbers are coming, they're gonna tear your playhouse down. Dig a hole in the meadow, dig a hole in the cold, cold grass. Dig a hole in the meadow, lay darn Corey down. Hello, I'm Chris Jones, and welcome to the Art of Bluegrass Rhythm. In this video, I'll be discussing all aspects of bluegrass rhythm guitar, from the basic bass notes and strums to bass runs and other embellishments. We'll discuss right hand technique, ways to improve timing and tone, and we'll also discuss how to play the most appropriate style of rhythm for the type of song that you're playing. I'll show examples from a wide range of bluegrass material that you should be able to apply to songs in your own repertoire. Good rhythm guitar is one of the most underrated skills in bluegrass music. People who play other instruments like banjo and fiddle may have a better understanding of this than some of us guitar players do. They're the ones who rely on us for solid backing and are sometimes disappointed. The bass, mandolin, and banjo are all important components of the bluegrass band rhythm, but it's really the guitar that ties all these things together and makes them sound like a band. Just like lead guitar, there are all different kinds of rhythm guitar being played out there, and there's no right or wrong style. There is, however, a job that all rhythm guitar players have, and it has some basic requirements. The timing must be right on, and the rhythm must always complement the song, the singer, or the instrument that's playing. I hope I'll be able to help you achieve these goals. I'd like to point out that this video is appropriate for beginning guitar players as well as more advanced players. For the beginners, we'll have some basic discussion of techniques, and for the advanced rhythm guitar players, we'll get into some of the more subtle aspects of bluegrass rhythm. First, let's tune up. Here's my low E string. And here's A, 5th string. Here's D. G, 3rd string. B. And now the high E string. Let's start out with some basic technique for rhythm guitar, beginning with holding of the pick. Now, the pick is something that should not be gripped too tightly. A tight grip on a pick can result in a stiff hand, a stiff right hand, and that will lead to a tightened up wrist and stiff rhythm and inability to play fast. So, what you want to do is loosen up your grip on the pick, almost to the point where the pick might even fall out of your hand. But you want to be able to increase your pressure on it when you encounter resistance. In other words, when you hit that string, there's a little bit of a squeeze. So don't think of it as holding the pick with the same amount of force all the time. If you hold it too loosely and never increase your pressure on it, you'll end up dropping it like that. But if you hold it too tightly, as I said, it'll be a little bit stiff. So we want to be in between there, loose, but pinching it a little bit almost, to get a nice, easy but firm stroke on those strings. Now, all of bluegrass rhythm begins with the basic foundation. The basic pattern is something we call the boom chick, and that's simply a bass strum pattern. Now, I'll be talking about something that'll be review for advanced players, but I'll just say that the boom chick is the 1, note and then a strum, and then we follow that with the 5 note and a strum. This is our alternating bass note system. So in the key of G, I'm playing this low G and hitting that D string. And getting this accurate is not as easy as it seems. But this is what we're after. And when you strike that bass note, you want to play that strum with a nice loose strum. In other words, this wrist should break, and you should be nice and relaxed. So apply that little bit of pressure to the pick when you hit those bass notes. So this is the basic pattern that all of our rhythm is going to be built on. Everything comes in addition to this. So it's important to be able to master this at all different tempos. I'll play a song just using this basic boom chick. It's one that will probably be familiar to you. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Lay around the shack till the mail train gets back. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. A little bit faster. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Lay around the shack till the mail train gets back. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. So from there, we can add a different kind of upstroke, an upstroke that happens before the strum, which would make this a booma chick, as opposed to a boom chicka that we just did. So you'd have, with an upstroke on the D string, or our 5 bass note. So that would sound like that. Usually what will happen is a combination of those things, which we would call the booma chicka. Now here again, this is something that you would not want to use throughout the song. This sounds a little bit busy. Once you get used to playing it, it's fairly easy, but it's not to be overused. I will tend to use it towards the ends of phrases after a certain amount of playing that. Frequently I will combine a boom chicka and a booma chicka, so you'll hear something like this. So it's good to think of these as combinations of basic strums together. One thing I want to add too is we were talking about the basic boom chick. In G we're playing the low G note and the D as our alternating bass notes. Just a quick review in other chords. I can roll my sweet baby's arms. We go to the D or the 5 chord. Those bass notes. Once again, we always have the 1, which is D, and then it's reversed. 1, 5. It's a lower note, second. In the key of C. In A, we have 2 open strings. In the key of E, just like the G chord, our 1 note is the lowest one. Now I'd like to talk about dynamics. With the addition of the boom chicka and the booma chicka leads naturally into this discussion. Dynamics is something that really sets bluegrass rhythm guitar apart from rhythm guitar and other styles of music. In country music, rhythm guitar is meant to kind of fill in some blanks and fill in where the drums are playing. And it's frequently a steady sound regardless of where you are in the song, you're providing this guitar fill. But in bluegrass music, without the drums, there's more of a push and pull, or an ebb and flow to the volume and the attack. You'll find this kind of ebb and flow throughout bluegrass music, traditional and contemporary, and it is something that is fairly unique about bluegrass music. And I like to think of a rhythm as a combination of different patterns working together to create the whole. And we'll be using some different kinds of pick attacks later that we'll talk about, and some runs, and those all fit into that combination as well. One thing I wanted to mention was that I've been giving examples of vocal songs, and people may wonder whether the same principles exist for instrumentals or, say, fiddle tunes, also an important part of bluegrass music. Well, I think it is a little bit different. I think the dynamic approach is a little bit different. A fiddle tune, since it got its start as a dance tune, music to dance to, has a little more of a reliance on a steady beat, because we want to keep that beat going for the dancers. They're not that concerned about dynamics. They want a beat happening, and there aren't the same kind of spaces in the music that we have. I'll give you an example. I'll play a little bit of Sally Gooden. I'll play some lead just to give you the feel. So that's the tune. And I feel what sounds best behind this is a good basic boom chick sound, keeping that steady. A few upbeats in there, but a steady feel. Later on, I'll show you ways to embellish fiddle tune rhythm without the addition of boomachickas and things like that. We'll talk about some of the bass runs and things like that later on. But right now, to review what we've been talking about, again, check your own playing to make sure that you're able to do this basic boom chick pattern in all the different keys. Check the pick. Make sure that you've got a loose grip on it, but are able to apply the necessary pressure. Make sure your right hand is loose, but not floppy. You don't want and that it's accurate, but not too tight. So from this foundation, I think it should be added as well that the basic boom chick, again, is the thing that we build on. It's easy to lapse into having this as your basic pattern, or what is sometimes referred to as the boom chatala, which is remember that this is the basis for everything. We add everything on to that. So if you've got that mastered, you're well on your way. Dynamics, we add the boom chickas and the boomachickas. If you're confused about how often to put that in, you could think of it as something that goes at the end of a line, or even the end of two lines. Just play your boom chick. Don't come crying on my shoulder, telling me love is grand. So, boom chicks through that vocal section, boomachickas after the end of the line. Now, once you are used to that, and that becomes kind of second nature to you, you can make your own decisions about how much to put in or how often to do it. It can vary with the song, but that's a good way to start out. One of the most common difficulties that rhythm guitar players face, especially playing bluegrass, is tempo. how to increase your speed, how to keep up with that banjo player. And I'm going to give you two suggestions. One is a very simple one, and that is just practice, and practice with a metronome. Keep playing your basic pattern and increasing the speed and just getting used to it. Another thing I'm going to suggest is some moderation in the way you strum, an emphasis on the boom versus the chick, or vice versa. Practice-wise, it's important to maintain your looseness and your flexibility. The tendency is to get tense and tighten up when trying to play faster, and this just slows you down. You get all of a sudden a tightness in your wrist and tightness in your hand, and all of a sudden you feel constricted. If you can keep the looseness and just learn to gradually increase your speed, keep your accuracy. Roll in the sweet baby's arms, roll in the sweet baby's arms. Now, if you find playing at these tempos to be difficult, be patient with yourself, because it's not something you'll be able to master overnight. It will happen for you with practice. And one thing I want to mention about accuracy, I stress the importance of a fitness 1 and 5, or for another key in D. It's important not to obsess about this too much. It is important to practice it so that it becomes second nature for you in all the different chords. But I think when you're playing up-tempo and you're thinking, I've got to hit that right 1 and that right 5, otherwise I've made a mistake, it's going to tend to stiffen you up and make it more difficult to play faster, and you're going to mess up just as much doing that, if not more. So don't have that be your overriding concern. It's better to practice it at home, get that bass note, get the accuracy to become second nature for you, and don't worry about it too much. And one thing I talked about a moment ago was the idea of simplifying your strum or changing the emphasis a little bit on the super fast tempos. What I mean by that, and you'll hear different guitar players and some great rhythm guitar players do this, an emphasis on the boom over the chick, or the chick over the boom. So you may have something like this. I'll play a little bit of Long Journey Home. Lost all my money but a $2 bill, $2 bill, was $2 bill. Lost all my money but a $2 bill, on my long journey home. There's a combination there. I was singing, I was having a kind of a shortened strum. I was really emphasizing this. And then threw in some. Those bass notes weren't as important there, but you had a full and dynamic rhythm sound there. But if I worry too much about, I'd have a sort of an unsmooth sound. So I've just, not as a shortcut, it's just really an emphasis change. That's something you may try on extremely fast songs like that one. Now I'd like to talk about the other extreme, which is slow songs. Slow songs can be as difficult as fast ones. Difficult to maintain the tempo properly, difficult to play the right thing, play accurately. Things are more noticeable in slow songs. But you'll find that all of the same principles and techniques apply. If I were to play the song that we've used as an example, Will You Be Loving Another Man, if I were to play that as a slow song, it would involve the same way of playing, just slower. Now don't come crying on my shoulder, telling me love is grand. That makes a pretty good slow song. Anyway, the boom chick is there, the boom and chicka, and the same dynamics principle all apply in the slow song. I think the amount that we supplement the strum is a little bit different. I think you'll find in slow songs you want a little less of the basic boom chick. You want to fill it out just a little bit. Now I'm going to play an actual slow song for you. And to do this, I'm going to put a capo on the 3rd fret